I'd done meth for almost 24 years.
I used the drug for 7 years.
Addiction is a precursor to criminal behavior.
We're not just going to solve the problem by locking people up.
I was not happy with where I was at in my life. I needed a change.
This isn't soft on crime. This is an approach which is trying to be a little smarter on how we respond to crime.
Drug courts were built for the individual who can be safely managed in the community. The individual's got a serious drug problem. Their drug problem is fueling their constant involvement in the criminal justice system.
I got involved in drug courts because I was just plain tired of watching these same people coming through over and over and over again, whether it was for a DWI and then multiple reoffenses for violating the court's order against drinking, or whether it was coming back repeatedly for using marijuana or methamphetamine and ultimately ended up in prison.
We know that the vast majority of people that are sent to prison or locked up in a county jail are going to get back out into the community, and if we don't address the underlying addictions which drive their use of illegal drugs and are the reasons behind why they're committing crimes, we're not going to solve the problem.
We're building more jails and prisons to solve the drug addiction problem is like building more cemeteries to cure cancer. It just doesn't work.
We're in trouble. We have crippled the correctional system in many states. We've crippled state budgets. The vast majority of those people behind bars, they have serious drug problems and mental illnesses, and we're paying $30,000 a year or more to house them in those settings.
I'm a multiple DWI offender, so I asked my attorney what I needed to do. I said there has to be a change, and I made a decision to come in and meet with Judge Holohan and the DWI court members.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hennepin County DWI Court. The traditional sentencing model has been to punish behavior or an attempt to regulate behavior. What we're doing in DWI courts is we're changing behavior.
When we first started manufacturing, it was to feed our own addiction.
And we had spent a lot of time trying to break away from this addiction.
If we put people in jail for drug crimes, when they come out of jail, 2 out of 3 of them are going to be rearrested for a new crime, and about 95% of them are going to go right back to drug use. Drug courts, by keeping people in the community, working with them, providing the services that they need and holding them accountable for attending treatment, reduce crime in a way that prison has never been able to do.
DWI courts are different from traditional courts in that in a traditional court, after I sentence someone, I never see them again. In a DWI court, I have them come back for weekly reviews. As of today, you've been sober 14 months. Congratulations. Yes, good for you.
Yes, indeed. It feels good, too.
So this is kind of turning that all on its head and saying, I'm going to meet with these people every week to encourage them to keep doing well.
Addiction is a chronic brain disease. It affects people long after abstinence is secure. Long-term treatment is key in treating addicted criminal justice clients. It's high intensity in the beginning, lasts a long time, and it's frequent.
Who's the right individual to be in a drug court program? I would say there are 3 factors. Factor number 1, it has to be safe to keep that person in the community. If they are a real danger to public safety, if they're violent, they don't belong in drug courts, they belong in incarceration. Number 2, they have to have a serious drug problem. They have to have serious needs that it's worth putting resources into. And number 3, they have to have a poor prognosis in traditional interventions. If we can treat them in a regular program, then do so. It's the people that that's not enough for that belong in drug courts.
It was very important for me to get into a program like this because I don't think that the 2 years of sobriety that I'm celebrating right now would have happened without the DWI court.
In a drug court, you see a much greater sense of collaboration. We all step back from our traditional roles in some very meaningful ways, and we work together. Judge leading the process, prosecutor, defense attorney, the corrections officials that are going to monitor the offender to make sure that they're not reusing chemicals.
Pre-drug court, we would try to keep people away from the criminal justice system. We didn't like talking to probation agents. We certainly didn't want people to go to court. And even to the point where we didn't want to sign releases so we didn't have to talk to them. We were adversarial. The client viewed that relationship with the court as adversarial. Post-drug court, it's a whole new ballgame. We cooperate and collaborate with probation agents, with the prosecutors, with the public defenders to work together for the same goal.
When people come into drug court, I say to them, you will never be surrounded by as many people that care about your sobriety as you are with drug court. You've got the chance and the choice and the opportunity to do something with that now if you want to.
It's much more human here. I mean, they really care about what happens to you instead of just saying, you know what, this person's a lost cause, let's send them to jail.
We're saying, no, you're not a bad person. You have a disease, and I can dislike your behavior, but I can care about you as a person. And I think that's what the difference is.
There is intensive supervision and monitoring of these people. There's frequent drug testing. They see the judge nearly every week and are involved in treatment.
These individuals are held more accountable than a person out on parole. We have knowledge of each participant. We obviously have their addresses. We're quite aware of their curfew times.
It was the structure and having the thumb of the court on you saying, listen, you either do well or you're going to jail.
If there is a problem or if somebody's not compliant with probation, through drug court, we're able to address that right away, sometimes within a day, as opposed to within the system weeks or months later.
If ever you miss a call-in to your probation officer or you're not home at the required time, there's immediate sanctions, and the ultimate sanction is being reincarcerated.
In the same token, we're able to provide incentives. I will never underestimate how far it goes to say to somebody just simply, you know, you're really doing a great job, keep up the good work. Or to have the rest of their peers in the courtroom when they've achieved some milestone to be clapping for them and to say that away, you know. It's amazing how far that will go to keep people motivated.
There is no community-based program that protects public safety better than a drug court that I am aware of or there's any research on. So if these people are going to be in the community, then drug court is the safest place for them to be.
Out of over 120 participants, we have had 2 people reoffend. And what I mean by that is they drank and drove again. Those people were put in jail, one for 2 years, the other for 18 months. That is a promise we make to people. If you drink and drive again, you're going to jail and all the time's going to be revoked.
I think drug court is successful because we don't only deal with what brought the person, what crime brought the person in the court, but we also deal with the other needs that they have. Housing, you know, besides drug addiction, if they have any mental health needs. We deal with whether or not they have any child protection cases going on and try to help coordinate that. We deal with education.
I know that drug court gave me the opportunity to succeed because they're the ones that suggested that I go to college, and in January I will be starting graduate school, which I never would have dreamed of doing had they not suggested it.
When they leave us, most of them are employed, most of them are on their way to higher education, thereby improving public safety and limiting the number of contacts those individuals will have in the future with the court system.
Nationally, for people who will complete a drug court program, you can expect about 85% of them will still be arrest-free a year out, and you can expect 75 to 80% of them remaining arrest-free, no new arrests, going out 2 years and probably longer.
There are studies that have shown for every dollar you spend on drug court, you have $2 to $5, some even as high as $7 across the country in cost savings on the back end.
What we have found so far with Minnesota's drug courts is a significant reduction in recidivism and a clear indication of cost savings.
Right now I've been sober 2 years. I'm pretty proud of that. That's the longest I've been sober since I've started drinking. That's a pretty big accomplishment for me. And I think the DWI court had a lot to do with that.
Drug courts are innovative, cost-effective, and successful in treating addiction.
Drug court had a way of giving you hope.
Drug courts are a life-saving opportunity for people to have a new life and to be with their families again.
Those are some of the greatest feelings I've ever had, is knowing I played some small part in helping these people turn their lives around.